You know, it really pains me to say this because I spent a lot of time on the second boss in my game, but I just think it's not a fun fight. So I decided to redo all of it and just completely overhaul it. Originally I had it where you were supposed to attack certain points on this boss. She was going to be like a big statue boss. I had to turn around slowly and it would give you different vantage points on different weak spots. But that really just worked a lot better in theory than in practice. So I ended up redesigning her. I think she has a much better look now. And now the only weak spots on her are her eyes. So you're going to be able to attack her pretty much throughout the whole fight instead of having to worry about hitting specific weak points. And I think it's a lot more fun and just an enjoyable fight overall this way. Also, it's worth mentioning that once you get into the city level, you unlock the arm cannon. And it was kind of weird that this boss never really utilized it at all. So I decided to make it so she can shield her eyes with her hand, and you can actually blast that hand away with the arm cannon. Because if you remember from one of my previous devlogs, I talked about how I want the arm cannon to be focused purely on destroying shields or knocking shields out of the way so you can get clean shots onto enemies, because I really want to encourage weapon swapping in this game. By the way, if you aren't already aware, I am working on a Metroidvania boomer shooter platformer game where you play as an angel going down from heaven to hell to find a human you're watching over when this human was alive, and you have to figure out why they didn't make it into heaven. And you meet lots of wacky friends along the way. And speaking of the friends that you meet along the way, I redesigned a lot of my NPC's dialogue. I made it a little bit more true to the character I want them to be. Originally, all of my characters were kind of all just like chill dudes that just hang around the world and are really nice to you, and that's all their personality is. So I wanted to give them a little bit more than that. For Bug, which is like my blacksmith character, I decided to lean into him being like a little more sassy. I leaned into Vincent being a little bit more manipulative or careful with his words. Maybe manipulative wasn't the right word, or maybe cunning? I don't know, but I think he sounds a lot more intelligent and has his own motives now. For Gale, I have an idea for what I want to do with him too, and I actually finished up his cutscene. I think I want to make him into somewhat of like a bad friend or a neglectful friend to Ralphie. I kind of want Ralphie's loneliness and social awkwardness to shine through in this game, and I think giving Ralphie a friend that isn't very responsive to her needs and feelings is gonna pay off when I start introducing actual friends that do care about her into the story. I also just did a lot of bug fixing and polishing this month because I'm trying to work towards a demo that I can put on Steam this summer or fall. I did a lot of stuff with portals because portals were pretty broken, and honestly they're still kind of broken, but I did fix the major issues with them. I don't think they're game breaking at this moment, so that's good. I polished up the revolver. I wasn't really happy. I was of two minds for it because I really like games that give you a weapon where you can fire it as fast as you can pull the trigger or the mouse button. Like Borderlands. Borderlands gives you some guns that you can do that with. But it just looked really weird coming out of a revolver, and it felt a little too powerful sometimes. So I decided to just lower the fire rate on it a little bit, and I also gave it an accuracy fall off. So if you shoot it too much, it gets less accurate. And I also gave it a little more like an animation where Ralphie will click the revolver back to make it more in line with how an actual revolver functions. So I think it's in a lot better of a place right now. There's also a bunch of stuff in the dialogue that I bug fixed. God, I did so much bug fixing. I probably squashed like over 50 bugs this month. And speaking of making the game feel more complete, I decided to add some more stuff around that you could just simply do throughout the world. Like, I worked on time trials, which I was heavily inspired by Super Regalia's challenge system, where you'd hit like an orb and have to chase these orbs around the map and do it in a certain time limit. I decided to do a similar thing where you hit the first orb and then a timer starts and you have to race all the way to the final orb. I think eventually the reward for completing these are going to be like a new outfit or cosmetic for Rafaela. Right now, I just decided to make it like the angel tears, which are the material that you need to increase the amount of prayers that you can do, which are what allow you to heal. They're like the eyes in the bottom left of the screen. I'm having a lot of fun with these time trials, honestly, so I think I'm going to put a lot of them throughout the world. My favorite one so far has got to be the one in the forest, because you start at the beginning of the level and race all the way down to the end, and you have all the movement abilities at this point, so it's just, there's a lot of stuff you have to do, and I think it's very fun. And you have like 80 seconds to complete that. I think by adding stuff like this too, I can also give stuff to the people who prefer the more platforming elements of this game something to do. Because I do want this game to be almost equal parts shooting and platforming. Because I think that's the main thing that helps my game stick out, is how tight I have the combat and the platforming intertwined. So aside from working on some bug fixes and new features, I've also been starting the process of making a Steam page, and hopefully it should be able to be live in the coming week. I also whipped up a little trailer that I think shows off some of the best parts of the game, so I'm very excited to share that. So stay tuned, because once I have a Steam page, I will be able to upload demos for you all to try, and I will be able to get more hands-on feedback from all of you. Because of the Steam page, I also worked on some promotional art that I think looks pretty good. I don't know how I feel about this font. I do like it for like titles and certain UI elements, but I don't know if it might clash a little bit with the kind of like old-timey font, but whatever. I'll think about it. I also got Steam achievements up and running. Right now the only achievements are if you kill a boss, but I plan on getting a lot of them. I love achievements. In addition to the main characters, I also added some more minor characters throughout the world that I'm making a sort of just generic model for these, and I'll also do the same thing for like Purgatory and Hell. But I just made like a generic angel that I'm gonna place throughout the world. These are kind of gonna be like my toads of this game, where they're just kind of like a mascot for the civilians in this world. You can meet them all throughout Heaven. I added some in the prison area, there's some in the city, and I definitely need to add some in the forest as well. But I think this is a good opportunity to break apart the monotony and repetition of just shooting things, and you can talk to somebody and get some world building. And I just like the design of these guys. They look goofy and quirky and just a little bit awkward, but in a good way. And apparently a lot of people liked their design on Blue Sky as well, so I think that's a good sign. I'll place these guys throughout everywhere. And I'll just add a little bit of dialogue to give a little bit of world building. Another issue that was really annoying me was the fact that when you healed and had a weapon like the shotgun, it really looked like you had 3 arms, and I finally managed to make it where if you heal with the shotgun, Ralphie will switch which arm she is holding the shotgun with. Unfortunately, there's still an issue where if you heal while holding Chippy, it again looks like you have 3 arms, but I guess that's just another animation I gotta make. I also made some changes to my Guardian enemy, where if you kill them, they will actually drop all their body parts into different locations. It really nails down the statue. kind of thing I had going for them. And also you can one-shot them with a arm cannon. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video. Please stay tuned for a trailer because I will be launching my Steam page very soon. And as always, I would love if you comment on the video. I'd love hearing what you guys think about my game, and like and subscribe. Thank you very much for listening to me ramble. See you next time.